So this is what you could expect from this evening's presentation. We are going to pull back the curtains and look into our financial futures. And this is not so much a business opportunity as much as it is an invitation for economic participation. And we're not um, looking at possibilities of just earning some extra income, paying some bills, or even just simply becoming debt free, although it can include all of that. What we are actually talking about, and as I had entitled the presentation, the world's best financial opportunity. I titled it that way because what we're going to talk about is going to take us beyond um, just being able to improve our financial position. And it's going to be the ability for us to truly live freely. And so let us begin our journey into this evening's presentation. As we pull the curtains back, I want to start with this quote, which I just absolutely love because it really has so much packed into it. Money supports life, it does not define it. In right relationship, it becomes a quiet ally to live in fully, freely, and purposefully. And that's really what we're after. Money matters because life matters. And without sufficiency, our capacity to live aligned with purpose and is diminished, and living is reduced to mere survival. We want to look at the direction of being able to live fully, to live freely, to be able to live purposefully. And inside of that, we want to get really beyond survival, where um, we want to be able to know what the freedom is to be able to, let's say you needed a new vehicle because your old one is expiring, and you can be able to go and purchase the vehicle that you want without having to worry about hire purchase or a loan. You just can walk in and just buy the vehicle you want. We want to be able to know the freedom. Maybe you are in a department store and you see a piece of jewelry, or you see a watch that you like, and you just say, I'd like to buy that without having to ask, what is the price of that? Or even something more simpler, maybe you um, go to a restaurant, you've always thought about this very special restaurant, and you've never been because of the cost of the restaurant, and you go in one day, you choose what you like without having to look to see what the price is first. Many people don't know the freedom of such things. And I want to try to inspire in you that desire to dream again and to look at the possibilities by the end of our presentation, to look at the possibilities of taking the limits off yourself with what you're going to see and hear tonight, because it is going beyond just making a little bit of extra money to make life more comfortable. We're talking about actually building real wealth and building wealth that is sustainable. We're going beyond that survival where most of us live. And so, for us to be able to do that, we have to be able to tap into the five laws of creating sustainable wealth. And sustainable wealth is the flow of value secured by ownership, expanded through leverage, accelerated by compounding, and preserved through stewardship. These are the five laws that are inseparable and interconnected. And if we can come into a space where these five laws coexist and they are in coherence, there is only one outcome, and that outcome is you will not only produce wealth, but it will be sustainable. And the first of the laws is value creation. That always must precede money, is value. And we're talking about being able to contribute value in some way that's going to solve problems. It's going to meet needs of society in some way or serve society. Once we can create value, and many of us can do that, it overflows into the second law, which is ownership. And this is very important because this is the doorway to which we can access all the other laws. If we cannot get through the doorway of ownership, we won't be able to access the other laws. And this is where the vast majority of the population of our planet, we get stuck right here. Some of us even make it to here and we still also get stuck. When I say ownership, it is not about possessions. It is about having the sovereignty or the authority to choose how to expand the contribution so it will continue, to get continuity out of that. But once we get to the second law and we have that sovereignty where we can optimize our potential, it overflows and interconnects into the third law, which is leverage. And leverage is how we can increase the productivity and scale it without increasing our effort. This is where we tap into the flow of efficiency by being able to utilize systems and resources that will give us the leverage to be able to increase without more effort. That naturally overflows into multiplying that efficiency through compound growth. And this is where what the value is being produced, it accelerates and it becomes enduring over time to where it can even outlast us. This we're talking about sustainable. And finally, it flows into the fifth law of stewardship. This is where allocation and distribution of all that is being gained in value is fed back into the contributors of value to elevate lives. This forms a loop. It forms a self-renewing loop. And this is the signature of anything that is sustainable. Value must flow back into the culture, into the community, into the society. We live in a socio-economic ecosystem, and the economy that we have been accustomed to, it does not accommodate these five laws. But any economy of which this is built into, and it flows through this, because you will always find that there will be prosperity. This represents an organic, law-based system that defines the true structure of what an economy is. And so I want us to bear this in mind that the central key to this, all of us can create value, or value can be created and we can step into it, but we must be able to have ownership where we can have control or sovereignty or the authority to choose how we will utilize and expand that. That is the doorway in that we're talking about. What we have been accustomed to and why most of us live paycheck to paycheck, and we will continue to live paycheck to paycheck, why most of the planet never see wealth, and there's enough wealth for everybody to live prosperous on this planet. No question about it. But we know how it is. There's a big gap of inequality between those who are at the top and those who are at the bottom. And most of us here on the call may be familiar with what we call the cash flow quadrant. And what I have created is this, what I call the dependency liberation quadrant, which speaks to the struggles that most of us are going through. And it's a struggle between the debt cycle and financial flow. On the left side, 95% of people on the left only have access to 5% of the wealth, whereas 5% of people on the right, they have access to 95% of the wealth. And we're familiar with how this goes. And the reason for this is the socio-economic structure that we live in is designed in such a way to keep, as we pour value in to the economy, as we pour value into society, you go to work and you do your job. And we are all putting in what our various vocations and professions and our jobs are. Everybody's pouring value into the society. But the value is extracted and it goes to the top to where the select few at the top gains all the value, and the majority at the bottom, we are the ones that become dependent on the system. As a result, for us to make ends meet, we end up having to, if we want to get ahead, we end up having to borrow. We want a home, we want a car, we want good education, as the case might be. And so we enter a cycle, what is called the debt-based monetary system, which a system of value that only turns if there is debt being created. And because there must always be people to service the debt, to pay the interest, there must always be a large amount at the bottom servicing the few at the top. The system is built this way because those that can leverage the system, those that own, those that can compound are the ones at the top that ensure that the system is in such a way that it extracts the value from the community, pulls it to the top. In this system, it is mathematically and structurally impossible for a significant amount of people that are on the left side, the 95%, to be able to make it up to where the 5% are. It is mathematically impossible for that to happen by virtue of how the very structure of the economy works. It works against us. How many of you on this call have maybe started your business or have tried many different types of opportunities? And you may have made some money and you may have made some headway, but you were not able to graduate to that level, or you were not able to sustain it long enough to where you can build wealth enough or sustainable wealth. There are those, there are exceptions to the rule for those who may break free, those of us who are relentless enough with the perseverance and grind, and over time, a small number of us can break free. But the vast majority of us will not be able to break free of this system. And so what we do, we have our jobs, we look for a second job, a third job, a side hustle, and we look for these financial opportunities on this side to be able to find our way through. And we still don't make it. Why? Because we are inside of a system that is extractive. When value flows in, it is always extracted to the top. That is intentional design. What we need to do is not try to earn more inside of that system, nothing wrong with that, but we have to take that effort and try to break free out of that system. Now, what bridges the gap, we take us from the left side to the right side, is stewardship. Being able to take the resources that we have and manage them in a way that is more responsible. But on the left side, if we don't do that, we would spend our time trading our time for money. We become dependent on an employer. We are basically renting out our potential and we have a limited freedom. And so we can move from that. Most of us will start at that point, and many of us can graduate to being self-employed. But we are still trading time for money at a different level, and we are still depending on personal effort. So there's only a limit to how much we can do. When I was in clinical practice, if I didn't go to my practice and I decided I was going to take a break off, nothing will happen in terms of revenue generation during the time that I was off. And so there's some constraint in mobility. This, when we live on this side, which is our normal socio-economic model that we are accustomed to, we develop a scarcity mindset whereby many of us think it's not possible. And we end up with a settled for mindset that this is what life has just dealt me. And almost not believing that it's even possible for us to become wealthy. And we have all kind of things working against us. But if we can learn through good stewardship, we can find a way to exit the system where we can show up on the right side, where we can own systems that generate passive income independent of time because it exists. It's just not been accessible to the majority until now. And that's what we're going to be talking about. We want to be able to have assets and money that work for us, where we can leverage our time and where we can align with the laws of sustainable wealth. And that's where we are going with this. But I must tell us that it requires a shift in our mindsets. We have to begin cultivating mindsets that are wider and broader and begin to believe in the possibilities. That's difficult for some of us because we have been already conditioned by a socio-economic structure, by an economy that's very extractive. If value that we input is not flowing back to us for us to flourish in and of ourselves because it's a fair value system, then it seems impossible. But I want us to know it is not impossible. So, what we're going to be doing is breaking out of this debt cycle and entering into the flow of wealth. Debt is the fuel of the cycle that we are entrapped in. And what we're going to talk about is how we can become free of that. And what I'm talking about is not becoming free to enter into another struggle, but to break free of the debt cycle and enter a way of functioning in the real world according to the sustainable laws of wealth creation, whereby all of us who participate in it, we are going to succeed. I am going to introduce you to the miracle ecosystem, which is a decentralized economy that empowers us to gain wealth. Everyone who accesses this system, everyone who participates in this system, 100% will succeed. There are absolutely zero losers who enter this system. Why? Because the system is ingrained with and inherent to this system are the 5 laws of wealth creation. There is nowhere that these 5 laws will exist coherently and you not create wealth. The only thing that will be of any hindrance is our own mentality. And so that's where we're going to be going with this. How is this possible today that you and I in the real world can enter an economic structure where we can function by these 5 laws and guarantee that we are going to not just make a little bit of money, but make as much money as we would allow ourselves to make based on our own potential and how much we want to participate in the economy. Because the more value we participate into this economy, the more value is going to flow back to us. And I'm going to show us how this will work. Now, I'm already saying some things that may sound that, that don't sound so right, that this thing is actually possible or this thing could actually be true. I understand that. But what we're talking about is something that is outside of the norm because the norm has not been constructed to serve us. What makes this possible, ladies and gentlemen, is that the world is going through a seismic shift of a permanent remodeling in the financial system. And it is an advent of the digital revolution that we have known for years. The last couple of decades, we have been evolving through a digital revolution, and we have seen the monetary system change from where it was just only cash and text, and it has evolved to where 90% of money moves through payment systems digitally through debit and credit cards. And so, but we have come to a point where we have of a threshold where that's about to change and begin to accelerate. And it's being called in the financial arena the age of tokenization, or the tokenized age. And that's where tangible assets, things like property, real estate, gold, stocks, bonds, everything that we know that's tangible is being now encoded into digital assets. It's not just money becoming digital, everything is becoming digital. Perhaps the strongest leading voice in the financial arena across the globe today, a gentleman by the name of Larry Fink, who is the CEO of BlackRock, one of the largest asset management funds in the world. He has said that tokenization is the advent that is going to change not just the entire financial system, but it's going to change the world. Now, what is that? To put it into context for our purposes and our understanding, which is accurate, tokenization is a paradigm shift in ownership. It enables anyone, and I mean anyone, regardless of capital, education status, or location, to access wealth-generating systems that were previously out of reach. This is an unprecedented shift in the global landscape of society, where what was only accessible to the privileged and to the elites and to those that had advantages is no longer the case. We now have access through this idea of tokenization to be able to access and own. And this is the key, right? Because ownership is and has always been the doorway to wealth. And so now we have access to owning pretty much anything that we deem valuable or has value that can generate or will have longevity. And we have the capacity to be able to access it. So I want to encourage you, we're not going to be able to see the whole scope of that because of course it's wide and it's deep. And so I want to encourage you in your own time to really look at it, because this is not a financial anomaly that's isolated to the financial or monetary system. This is going to redefine how society is going to function. This is, in fact, a civilizational shift that is going to impact the entire world, which is why we have to become aware of it. I am going to go through just a couple of short videos to help us to gain insight, to gain understanding, and to be able to better conceptualize and explain as we go through. They're very short, within 1 or 2 minutes. This one is just a couple of minutes longer, but this will lay the foundation to help us to understand what we are moving into and how it is that we can actually enter a bona fide economy where we can gain sovereignty over our financial futures. So take a listen.
Forget everything you thought you knew about money. We're living through a quiet revolution, a moment where the very definition of value is being rewritten. The world is tokenizing, and money, believe it or not, is just the beginning. When most people hear crypto, they think of Bitcoin, a digital currency floating in cyberspace. But that's like looking at the invention of the internet and only seeing email. What's truly happening is far bigger, far more profound. We're witnessing the birth of a new digital layer for our entire economy. This isn't just about digital cash. Imagine owning a fraction of a skyscraper in Tokyo, a piece of a Monet painting, or even a share in a forest that generates carbon credits. This is the promise of tokenization. We're taking real-world assets, real estate, art, intellectual property, you name it, and transforming them into digital tokens that live on a blockchain. These aren't just JPEGs. They're digital twins of physical things, carrying ownership rights, history, and value. Suddenly, assets that were once illiquid and exclusive are becoming divisible, tradable, and accessible to anyone with an internet connection. It's the democratization of ownership on a scale we've never seen before. So, how is this all possible? The engine driving this transformation is blockchain technology. But let's be clear, blockchain isn't just a fleeting trend, it's a fundamental infrastructure shift, as significant as the railways or the internet itself. Think of it as a new financial architecture being built right under our noses. For decades, our financial system has been a patchwork of slow, expensive, and centralized databases. Blockchain offers a different model, a shared, transparent, and immutable ledger. It's like upgrading from a horse-drawn carriage to a high-speed magnetic levitation train. We're building digital bridges between the old world of finance, Web 2, and the new decentralized world of Web 3, creating a system that's more efficient, transparent, and interconnected. This new architecture brings with it a new set of rules and a fundamental shift in power. In this new world, ownership is becoming programmable. Through something called smart contracts, self-executing agreements written in code, we can define exactly how an asset behaves. Imagine a share of stock that automatically pays you dividends, or a digital concert ticket that grants you access to exclusive content after the show. Your digital identity can be verified instantly without relying on a central authority. This isn't just about buying and selling. It's about embedding logic, rights, and rules directly into our assets. It's a world where the code is, quite literally, the law. Power is shifting from intermediaries to individuals. So, the billion-dollar question is, who wins in this massive transition? It's not just the early crypto adopters or the Wall Street giants. The winners will be those who can bridge the gap, the ones who understand both the language of capital and the logic of code. They are the new hybrid investors, the digital architects who can see the connections between traditional markets and this emerging token economy. They'll use sophisticated AI-driven tools to navigate this complex landscape, managing portfolios that seamlessly blend stocks, bonds, and tokenized assets. This isn't about choosing one world over the other, it's about mastering both. The ability to speak both languages, finance and technology, will be the defining skill of the next generation of wealth creation. But let's not get carried away by the hype. This new frontier is exciting, but it's also fraught with risk. With great power comes great responsibility, and decentralization without sensible guardrails can quickly lead to chaos. We've already seen glimpses of this. Dramatic flash crashes on unregulated exchanges, billions lost to hacks, and protocols collapsing overnight. The speed of innovation is far outpacing the speed of regulation, creating a Wild West environment where investors are vulnerable. Security is a constant battle, and the promise of a trustless system still relies heavily on the integrity of its underlying code. Navigating this world requires not just optimism, but a healthy dose of skepticism and a deep understanding of the potential pitfalls. This is more than just an investment trend. It's the future of our financial system taking shape in real time. The rules are being written right now, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Understanding this new system isn't optional anymore. It's essential for anyone who wants to protect their wealth, seize new opportunities, and have a say in the financial world of tomorrow. This isn't a game you can afford to sit out, because whether you participate or not, this new system is being built around you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are many people, if not most people, are walking around today and not aware that this shift is taking place. And just like how the internet and electricity and other things came into being, and people only adapted it and adopted to it many years later, This is going to be, very similar. But we want to be ahead of the eight ball, and we want to be able to take advantage of this. And so, one of the things, a couple of things that we may want to take away from
At
here
Finance
that's going to help us is to know that the shift in this global financial system is less about the currency and it's more about reclaiming financial control. And that's what I hope to get us to be able to see in the scheme of all of it, because it's moving away from centralized authority to decentralized ownership, from debt-based money that loses value to asset-based value, values being redefined, from permissioned access to where we now have open permission to participate in ways where we couldn't before, and moving away from labor dependency to income generation systems that we did not have access to before. When they talk about the democratization of ownership, it is a shift from asset control and wealth being concentrated in the hands of a few to a broad, accessible participation in owning value producing assets by many. That is what is meant by ownership is being democratized. And blockchain is the technology that is now creating the layer of value on the internet that is going to redefine how the internet is going to function, what they're calling Web3. It is the inevitable evolution of the internet that decentralizes value and it transforms it into a network of ownership. I just want us to become aware that there's a convergence between finance and technology that is creating a new type of economy. But what is also creating is access in ways that we didn't have access to before. And if we understand it and we can tap into it, we can change our financial futures. Tokenization is just fractional ownership. And so we are moving out of the age of restricted access to ownership to an era of shared equity. Individuals like you and I can finally and rightfully participate in systems that create the value of wealth. And to just give that a simple explanation, if you had if there was a very successful business that was for sale and you wish that you can own part of this business, but you didn't have the type of capital that one would normally need to buy this business or to buy shares in it. If that business were tokenized, let's say it was, you know, $10 million, and they divided it into 1,000 tokens, and each token was $1,000, and each person bought a token, then 1,000 people own a part of the business, and 1,000 people share in the profits of it. In essence, tokenization, and you can break it down into very smaller pieces. So the financial shift is creating new systems and value of money. So, part one, we see that there is a global shift taking place in the financial system. And why that's important to take note of is because money is the bloodstream that runs through society. It is like the bloodstream of the socio-economic ecosystem we live in. If money circulates freely to all, then, like in the body, all cells will flourish. But if money does not circulate throughout society properly and is concentrated to the top, many will suffer and many will be compromised. Now, that shift, we now see that tokenization is now shifting that. Let's add on top of that the financial shift that there are now new systems and values of money. Money is now changing. So I'm going to connect the dots and bring us into this economy where all of us can flourish. Many people are not aware of it, and many people hear, oh, crypto, which is just simply digital currencies. People say today, oh, that is that nebulous thing out there. That's not real money. That's not transactional. And nothing could be further from the truth. But for those who are uninformed and unaware, cryptocurrency is now legal tender across the world. Every bank in the United States, everyone is now adjusting their systems and getting in line because it is now legal tender and it's going to be the currency that the world will be transacting in, henceforth moving forward. And over time, um, what we know as fiat currency is going to gradually, over the next few years, decline and fade as it adopts more and more. What started that was when the President of the United States enacted the Genius Act about 9 months ago, and that started the ball rolling. For those who are not aware, just take a listen.
This afternoon, we take a giant step to cement American dominance of global finance and crypto technology as we sign the landmark Genius Act. I pledge that we would bring back American liberty and leadership and make the United States the crypto capital of the world, and that's what we've done. The Genius Act creates a clear and simple regulatory framework to establish and unleash the immense promise of dollar-backed stable coins.
This Genius Act will unlock American dominance in the crypto industry by creating clear rules of the road. It will update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary new payment system, and it will extend U.S. dollar dominance, like you said, globally. This is a huge promise made and promise kept by President Trump. We have a deal maker in chief, and it's because of your vision, your leadership, your determination, your skill that we're all here today. So thank you very much, President Trump.
With today's signing, the future of crypto and the crypto industry, the U.S. dollar working together is going to be stronger and bigger and better than ever before. Thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what we know to be cryptocurrencies, digital currencies, this is now law, and this is the future of what money is going to look like. So we cannot avoid being a part of this. The whole world is embracing it. And right now, when you do your own research, you're going to see from the largest financial institutions in the world, even across the SWIFT system, all the major central banks are piloting their own central bank digital currencies. This is not even a speculation or a question anymore. Some of the leaders in the leading institutions in the crypto space, they're also getting on board, and here's what they're saying.
My name is Michael Miebach. I'm the CEO at MasterCard, and we just witnessed the signing of the Genius Bill.
This is really the beginning of a financial revolution here in America. With the passing of this, we've got crypto stablecoins now that can be built right here in America to make every payment fast, cheap, and more global.
It enables us to upgrade the financial system, make it fairer, more accessible.
The president was able to achieve one of the most important changes in the legal framework in the United States to allow the creation and the safely usage of stablecoins.
This is going to mean fantastic benefits for individuals and businesses around, and looking forward to the great results for crypto and for the U.S.
This is a great day for crypto. This is a great day for the U.S. dollar, and it's a great day for America.
This is foundational legislation, foundational regulation that is going to unlock the power of the internet in rebuilding the financial system.
Not only that, but it positions the U.S. as the global leader in this new digital assets industry, which I think is incredibly important.
It's going to unlock the power of the internet through blockchain technology as we graduate towards Web3, upgrading the financial system, upgrading payment systems. The financial shift is bringing in a brand new infrastructure of how things are going to work.
My name is Michael Miebach.
What it means for you and I is that it gives expanded earning potential to us, because digital assets and tokenized systems and blockchain systems is exactly what's going to give us access to these 5 laws of creating wealth, which were previously out of reach. It gives us financial autonomy because, ladies and gentlemen, let this sink in, that it gives us the ability to determine what you are going to own, how much money you can earn, how that money is used, and how that money can be multiplied. That autonomy we have never had before, where we can determine what we are going to earn, what we're going to own, how much we can earn, how it multiplies. And it gives us the opportunity to create generational or sustainable wealth. The decentralized nature of blockchain and tokenization unlock the potential for exponential revenue growth with unprecedented enduring potential. The potential for us to earn, the ways how we earn, and the capacity for it to multiply, the average person has never seen what we're going to be talking about before. And of course, you have to hear this a couple of times for it to really begin to sink in.
My name is Michael.
When it comes to new forms of money, when it comes to upgrading the financial system and payment system, everything functions on blockchain. Blockchain is, think of it this way, the entire world functions on the internet. It doesn't matter what it is, from the financial system to medical systems to real estate, everything that we want to do today comes through the internet. Blockchain is now going to become the layer on top of the internet that gives it a new functionality that makes it far more efficient. The new payment systems and the new financial systems of this new tokenized economy runs on blockchain, which is just a decentralized economic ecosystem, and it's built on a network of computers called CPU nodes. CPU nodes are digital real estate upon which the infrastructure of the global digital economy is built. I want us to get a picture in our head because we're going to appreciate it in a little bit, that the global digital economy that has the new payments, new money, new ways of functioning, all happening within an economic infrastructure. It's digital, and the landscape of it is CPU nodes, which is the real estate upon which this infrastructure is built. I want us to really just get a sense of that. A CPU node is digital property. When you go into an economy, when you go into a new landscape, if you're going to start to build your wealth, the first thing that you may want to own is the land. The best and the highest regarded investment is real estate. You want to own the real estate of this new future infrastructure of how money is going to work. A CPU node is digital property. It has location, it has function, it has productivity. It is what actually enables, validates, and secures every transaction that moves across this network. It is likened to how Visa or MasterCard will validate every swipe, tap, or insert of a credit or debit card anywhere in the world. It's validated by Visa's CPU nodes. The difference is it is centralized into their database. Whereas with blockchain, it is decentralized across the globe of CPU nodes that's owned by individuals. By virtue of being decentralized, meaning no central authority, we have the opportunity to own that landscape. So CPU nodes is like the land, and blockchain is like the infrastructure that operates on, that's built on it. And all the different protocols and all the different functions and all the things that go on blockchain across the entire social landscape, it's going to be transacted, secured, validated, recorded by those nodes. Give you an idea, this is less than a minute of what a node is.
Nodes, the unsung heroes that tirelessly support blockchain infrastructure and lets all blockchain systems keep themselves in check. Think of them as the backbone of the blockchain. Networks require decentralized validation to ensure the security of transactions, where a decentralized network acts as a safeguard. Curious to learn more about how an everyday individual can participate in decentralized finance as a banker? That's where Miracle comes in. Node investments can be your ticket to passive income. As transactions flow through the blockchain, you, as a node investor, earn a share of the pie. It's a revolutionary way to make your money work for you, without the need for constant oversight. Our new products, Node and Leveler, are designed to make you a first mover in the world of blockchain investment. Embrace the future with Miracle, where Node, Phoenix, and Leveler work together to mitigate fluctuations. Your future starts here.
So we have seen that there is a global seismic shift in the whole global financial system. Added to that, we see that money and value has changed, and by law, it's now changing its form to function within this new digital tokenized economy. We know that blockchain is the infrastructure that's going to run this whole thing. We also know that it has always been that the real estate of blockchain technology, which are these CPU nodes, has always been owned by individuals. It's just that in the past, it has been difficult for the average person to own this real estate because you had to invest in lots of hardware and specialized equipment to be able to run it and connect it to the network. Today, with the advent of AI technology and advancements in blockchain technology, that is no longer needed. We now have these self-hosting nodes that's able to do it without us having to have that type of investment. So now we own the real estate. Now there are payment systems that have to now run this new economy. So the world is now shifting to new financial and payment systems to bridge the old and bridge the new. But there is a shortfall right there. This is a short, less than about a minute, where Kevin O'Leary, many people know him. He's a brilliant and successful investor. People may know him from Shark Tank. He says something in this short that points specifically as to where we're going and why what I'm going to tell you is so important.
Kevin, help me understand how revolutionary this is for the economy, but not just the economy, because the economy feels far away. Like how we live, how we pay for things, how we go about our life.
So in the last 9 months, lots has changed. Number one, we had regulation on stablecoins, which is effectively digital payment systems. That's very important. It's now law and legal. Number two, we've been talking about putting Wall Street onto blockchain for 12 years. It's never happened because there's never been a good use case to do it. And nobody wants to rebuild the infrastructure on compliance on Wall Street until now. Now, let me give you an example. If you think about now that digital payment systems are legal, and let's talk about a use case for consumers, your phone. Now, if you could be right beside your favorite coffee shop or pizza joint or burger joint and simply say, large Mac, mac and cheese, fries, that's it. That's all you have to say. Now, why will that work? Because your phone, through AI, knows where you are. It knows where they are. It has a digital payment system on chain, and it sends that $4 order in a nanosecond right to the register there. They know who you are, so when you walk in a minute and a half later, you pick up your burger or your slice or your coffee or your groceries or your dry cleaning or anything you want. The only thing holding us up on this vision, but believe me, there's a lot of people trying to solve for this, is the blockchain itself. Ethereum, everybody knows that name, and Solana is also popular over the last 3 years. They're too slow because you're going to be doing 100 million transactions around the world every minute.
The world needs a global interoperable system that is capable of handling millions of transactions per minute. And not only that, they need a system that can interface the various digital currencies across different chains to make it as seamless as how we may use debit and credit cards today. That has not existed on this planet until today. From a company, it's called Metaterra, who is shaping the future of finance, and under their umbrella is Miracle Technologies, which is a global fintech ecosystem of more than 20 companies. They run on their own native chain called Miracle Chain, and they have their own native token or cryptocurrency called the Phoenix token. Just like all other blockchains, they have a cryptocurrency native to it. That's something very to remember and pay attention to, because as you're going to see in a minute. Within Miracle Technologies, there are two segments that are relative to what we were talking about. It's called, one is Miracle Cash and More and Miracle Pay. So now we own the real estate. We need to have payment systems that the world can run on and integrate into this new system. And so what we have now is a leadership, a stellar leadership that has built over the last 8 years a financial infrastructure that is capable of giving the world what it needs. And I'm not going to go through all of these people right now, but if you look at them, if you go onto the website, the Metaterra's website, and you look at these individuals, they are who's who on Wall Street, in the world of finance, in the world of technology, in the world of economics. These are the individuals that's now one. Wall Street has always needed blockchain. They have now taken Metaterra is going to be the first fintech blockchain infrastructure banking system to go to Wall Street. That's going to be happening very soon. And they're also the first to bring the type of technology that can bring global interoperability across the world where such payment systems can exist. They, over the last 8 years, they have built a global footprint where there are operational and logistic offices in certain countries. They have also physical crypto stores in major cities in Europe, and their goal is to expand them as time goes by. And they're also the first company of its type that to be able to tokenize major projects. They have a $2.5 billion tokenized airport that they're going to be building this year in Romania. It's going to be the largest airport in Europe, and it's going to be completely tokenized. And they also have a deal of where they're going to be, they have a $12 billion tokenized deal for some of the oil reserves in Saudi Arabia. We're talking about a company that has a global footprint and have the strength and have the expertise and the leadership to be able to do what this company is presenting to the world. Miracle Cash and More, this is the bridge that bridges the old and the new together. This is where they're interfacing two systems where technology is converging the old and the new to have that global interoperability. This is where a complete world of financial systems are available in the digital realm as it interfaces with the old financial and traditional realm. It is bridging Web 2 and the Web 3 worlds together. Within that world, there is Miracle Pay. Miracle Pay is how we can now pay seamlessly across the world using cryptocurrency as seamless as using a regular and debit card. Here's how it works.
Let's rewind thousands of years to a time before money existed. How did people pay? A sack of wheat? Some heavy metal? Or maybe a live chicken? Trying to fit a chicken in your wallet? Not ideal. Luckily, financial revolutions followed one another, bringing us to the present day. And today, a new revolution begins. Miracle Pay. So, what is Miracle Pay? It's your innovative, secure, and transparent way to accept payments in any cryptocurrency.
Why blockchain? Because it's decentralized. No more bank bureaucracy, no more endless paperwork. And security? It's not controlled by a few guys in a suit. It's secured by hundreds of millions of people across thousands of nodes worldwide. With Miracle Pay, you can get paid anywhere. Whether you're selling ice cream on a glacier in Alaska or selling hot tea in the middle of the Sinai Desert. We might question your business model, but never your payment system. 24/7 security, 99.9% uptime, and support for over 100 wallets. Miracle Pay is your trusted blockchain partner. Join Miracle Pay today. Integrate the future of payments into your business right now.
How are they doing that? Well, Miracle Technologies and Metaterra, they've been able, because of the leadership that is behind the company, they've been able to secure contracts with 4 of the largest global payment providers in the world that serve 120 countries. Companies like Ingenico, Pax, Verifone, and NCR. Ingenico being the largest payment terminal provider in the world, where they're now integrating Miracle Pay software it's going to be preloaded into the terminals, very similar to how Apple Pay was done some years ago. And so now you're going to be able to pay with cryptocurrency in 120 countries, tens of millions of merchants online and in stores, where you're going to just be able to seamlessly pay. How are you going to do that? With international crypto-enabled MasterCards, where regardless of the cryptocurrency or cryptocurrencies you use, or maybe say the mainstream cryptocurrencies, you can tap, swipe, or insert, put it into an ATM, and regardless of what country you're in, it converts it seamlessly into the fiat currency of that country. And so it's as seamless as a regular card, but it's just converting your cryptocurrency to fiat currency. And so globally, you now have that. But what does this mean? This brings in now a second component within the economy for what it means for you and I. Take a listen.
You've probably heard the saying, if only I were early. Early to Bitcoin, early to Amazon, early to Tesla. Well, here it is again. But this time, it's not about hype. It's about owning the rails of a new financial system. Introducing CPU nodes, digital assets that earn daily from real crypto transactions happening worldwide. Every time someone pays with crypto, in-store or online, a small fee powers the network. And if you own a node, you get paid. These nodes are already paying every single day in a digital currency undervalued today, but set to explode in the months ahead. We've secured contracts with 4 global terminal providers, giving us access to over 100 million active merchants. And we're also integrated with major online retailers, processing billions each month. When even a small percentage of that volume transacts in crypto, node rewards skyrocket. The system is active. Payouts have begun. We're funding our aggressive expansion, not with Wall Street, but with everyday people like you. Together, we're decentralizing wealth by owning the new infrastructure of money. Timing is everything. Own a node now and earn every day for life.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we see how the whole shift has taken place and what's been set up. We own the infrastructure, the land, so to speak, and we receive rental or passive income from that. But by virtue of that, we also own the payment rails by which payment systems are functioning. We also now are going to earn every crypto transaction that happens globally through the Miracle Pay system. We earn portion or a percentage of all those transaction fees. Now, you got to open your mind to see this, that as the system adopts, eventually you're going to have millions of transactions taking place across the globe with cryptocurrencies on the first global interoperable digital payment system in the world, that we get to own the rails on which this is happening. So just like Visa get transaction fees, the transaction fees from this, we get a portion of it. We also get our passive income from being infrastructure owners of the land. And that in itself could become mind-boggling of what that really can mean for us. So if you want, you begin by becoming a node owner. And the node that I want to highlight, because there are multiple different types of nodes that do different things within the infrastructure or across the blockchain landscape. But the one I want to highlight is what they call the miracle CPU node. Why? Because this is the one that lies at the core of all the transactions. It doesn't matter if it is global transactions taking place on the payment system. It doesn't matter if it's tokenization of projects across the globe of real-world assets. If it is the decentralized exchange where cryptos are being traded every day by the millions, if it is the gaming platform and other sectors of the economy, this particular node is involved in every aspect of the economy. So it earns, not only is it earning from the value that's moving through the economy, each node itself is actually mining or producing the Phoenix token every day, which is the currency of this blockchain. And so, in addition to that, there are other nodes, but the other node I want to highlight at this point in time is this one called Project X node. The Project X node is also on a special offer until Saturday. It's usually $1,600 for that node, but that node is on special offer at $1,300 until Saturday, which is the 7th. This node particularly deals with low risk, high yielding rewards through the real world asset tokenization projects, where you earn a 4% revenue on those very large projects in perpetuity for the rest of your life. However, the Miracle CPU node, which sits at the very heart of the foundation of everything, including the tokenizing projects, this, as you buy one, you're going to get one for free. Now, this is $1,200 for one, but it's really literally a giveaway to own real estate. We would all love to own real estate in the real world. That might be out of reach, but this real estate, which will bring more returns than a regular house or apartment with less of the maintenance, etc., and you buy one and you get one free, this is something you want to consider. Tokenization, because of decentralizing and the tokenizing of what's happening in the digital world, we get to own these. They are willable, they are transferable, they're saleable, and we own these assets for life. And so the Phoenix token, which is the native token that moves everything on this chain, I want you to just think for a minute. Suppose you had the opportunity to own Bitcoin. Let's say you knew what Bitcoin was now, and let's rewind 16, 17 years when it was just pennies for Bitcoin, and you could now invest in it. Would you invest? But what if it was more than just what Bitcoin was, just a store of value, just speculation? It did not have an economic engine behind it. There was no payment systems behind it. It did not fuel economic growth. It did not fuel real world utility. But what if you could do that with a token or a cryptocurrency that's actually tied to real world economic function? It's the only cryptocurrency of its type that has such massive global real world utility behind it. It first went on to the exchanges last month, December. And between December and January, it's already increased its value 700%. Now, that's what we are being paid in. That's what we are, our node is actually mining it out of the land that we own, so to speak. And we are also reinvesting it and participating in an ecosystem that is far greater than I can tell you right now. So I want to welcome you to the miracle ecosystem where wealth is circulated through ownership-driven financial model. This is not a business that's built on blockchain. It's an economy designed for a blockchain native world. The whole world is shifting this way. And the whole world is ready for new systems of finance, new systems of payment, and new currencies that's going to become adopted. Miracle has positioned itself, building it, slowly waiting for this time. And when President Trump signed that Genius Act, that was the gun at the starting block, where all the financial systems are now going to be, and we're going to see a movement throughout 2026. Next month, the global payment systems go into operation from next month. And so this is ground floor of a very large opportunity that we can now build on. And all what creates the value, law number one, the system is the value creation. It's filling a need. The world needs it. The world doesn't have it. That's law number two. We get to own the infrastructure. We get to own the monetary rails. We get to own even more than that, more than we can go into. Three, we get to leverage it. How we are leveraging global adoption, automation is how we are leveraging that. It gets to compound by very virtue of how it circulates throughout the economy and keeps compounding. And we also get stewardship.
Welcome to the future of.
Let me just skip this and conclude with your economy for creating sustainable wealth. First, with your node, we are earning a percentage of global transaction fees across the globe, over 100 million merchants in 120 countries. We're earning 10 to 30% of every transaction fee, and that's in perpetuity. That is for the life that this network exists. We are also mining the tokens to ensure continuity of revenue. We also, our node is also mining the Merix token, a second token, which is earned to revenue sharing. So the value that flows into this economy through global payments, through interactions with different businesses, different protocols that's on it, all the value that flows in, a portion of it flows into the Merix and it flows to us. This is how it circulates through the system. So we're not just earning, we're also building long-term equity simultaneously. Then we have the opportunity through Project X to have a passport into automated financial security where the tokenizing of the world that's taking place, we get to have a seat. We get to get a passport into that world where we can earn in perpetuity for life of 4% of every tokenized project that comes through the Miracle ecosystem. And finally, there is an optional referral economic expansion program, and it's completely optional. And why that is there is because we are rewarded more for expanding the economy. And how is the economy expanded? Through participation. It is being expanded at the corporate level by all that they're doing on the outside with the tokenizing projects, the payment systems, etc. And it's being expanded on the inside by us, the community, the society of the economy, participating in all that they've made available, us to continuously keep leveraging and compounding our value. And they have it set in a system that the value keeps circulating back to us, affording us to keep compounding it. The referral program, when we invite someone to be part of this, to participate in this economy, it is not inviting them in the way how a network marketing business works, where you need to invite people in, because the more people you bring in, the more it influences your income, and you need to have that constant flow of recruiting in order for that to happen. This is not that. This is, we want to expand the community, because the more people that participate, the greater the value flows through it, and the greater the value that flows through it, the more value flows through to everybody. They have designed it in such a way that it really encompasses the laws that everybody who participates in this economy, everybody who participates in the miracle ecosystem, everyone actually makes well. How much you want to go, how far you want to take it, because they actually have it where there's no limit to how you can keep going. That is completely up to you. There are people who just say, let me just own the assets and let it just passive income, just let it keep creating. I don't want to do anything else. That's also fine. But the more participation, the more earning, the more value, the more flow back to everybody. It's a wonderful system. I've never come across a system like that before. The referral program, of course, there's a referral fee every time you refer a new partner that comes and invests, and it has 7 additional streams of income to it. This is not your network marketing model where you have to constantly keep recruiting. There are monthly requirements, there are monthly auto ships, there are monthly sales, there's monthly volume requirements. It has none of that in it. It's a very different program. They call it Aladdin, which is AI leveraged, asset driven digital income network. Only 10% is like an iceberg. 10% is the relationship layer at the top, and it's about us, the community growing, developing, personal growth, the leadership. But what drives the income is the AI leveraged assets that we own, that is continuously growing, compounding as the world adopts more and more into the new system. And so to become an active Bellator Life partner is very simple. You could be a partner anywhere in the world. You can purchase your own asset simply by registering your Bellator account. You have to get the link from your referring partner. To do that, there is no cost to set up your account, and you have access to all the back office information and products and all that they have there. And the payment, of course, is always best made in cryptocurrency because it's in digital realm. But other payment methods are also available, and you can speak to your referring partner about that. And so with that, I'm going to